Sai Ram students, a warm welcome to all of you. Today we will be continuing with our lesson, that's lesson number 8, the Pandavas in exile. Today is part 3 and which is going to be the concluding part of the lesson. Before I start, let me give you a short recap of what we did in our last 2 sessions. We all know that the Pandavas lost the game of Chaucer, because of which they were sent into exile. Once what happened was, these Pandavas were chasing a deer and they wandered very far from their place of dwelling. After a certain point of time, they decided that now they will not follow the deer, and they sat under a tree. They were very thirsty. Yudhishthir, the eldest of all, sent his brother Sahadev to go in search of water. Sahadev leaves but does not return. After this, Yudhishthir sends Nakul. Nakul, like Sahadev, also does not return. In similar manner, Bhima and Arjun also go in search of water and their other brothers. They don't return as well. Now he is worried as to what has happened to his brothers. So for himself, he decides that now he will go in search of his brothers. When he goes, after walking for a certain distance, he can see a water body with crystal clear water. But when he raises his eyes, he can also see his brothers lying on the floor. He doesn't know what has happened to them. He weeps. He says that, whatever has happened to him, the same thing should happen to him as well, because he cannot survive without his brother. Who is this he? Yes, it's Yudhishthir. Then, when he is thirsty, when he bends down to drink water, he hears some voice. And that voice is of Yaksha. Yaksha gives him a warning that you have to answer my questions before you drink water from this pool. Very smartly, he answers all the questions that Yaksha asks. And Yaksha is also impressed with the way he answers. So, he tells Yudhishthir that he will restore any one brother's life and leaves it on Yudhishthir to decide who that brother would be. Now Yudhishthir is worried, but then he has to make a decision. So he decides that Nakul's life should be restored. Yaksha asks him, why Nakul? Why not Arjun and Bhim? They are your brothers and they can help you in the war as well. But then he says that he, along with Bhima and Arjun, they basically belong, they basically are King Pandu and Kunti's children. So at least Kunti's line will be alive if he is alive. But then he says, Nakul and Sahadev, they are King Pandu and Madri's children. If they die, Madri's line would come to an end, which he didn't feel was right at that point of time. So he says, it would be better that you bring back Nakul's life. Let us see what Yaksha does. That is where we had stopped. So a gentle reminder to all of you to go get your book and pen so that we can start with our lesson. When he had said this, wonderful thing happened. In a moment, there appeared before Yudhishthir a shining crowned person whom he knew at once to be a god and no human being at all. Yudhishthir was right. The strange personage was none other than Yama, god of justice and death, Yudhishthir's heavenly father. Yama embraced Yudhishthir and told him who he was and how he had come to help the Pandavas in their hour of need. He told him how pleased he was with Yudhishthir's noble conduct and wisdom, and he restored to life not just one of the brothers, but all of them. They arose and looked about them, dazed and unable to understand what had happened. So now, what has happened? The moment Yudhishthir said that he wants Nakul's life to be restored, something wonderful happened when he gave the explanation. And what happened was, the very same moment before Yudhishthir, a shining crowned person whom he knew at once. He knew that this person is a godly figure. He is not a human being. He has some divine powers, and he was right. Who was that person? It was Yama, god of justice and death, who also happened to be Yudhishthir's heavenly father. Yama embraced is held Yudhishthir very close, in his arms as a sign of affection. So he hugged Yudhishthir and told him who he was, and he was there to help the Pandavas in their hour of need. The meaning of the word personage is an important or a famous person. And also Yama told Yudhishthir how pleased, how happy he was, with Yudhishthir's noble conduct and wisdom. If Yudhishthir wanted, he could have asked for Bhima's life, Arjun's life, but no, he didn't do that. He asked for Nakul's life. Then what happened? With this answer, he was so impressed, Yama was so impressed that he brought back all his brothers alive. And when they woke up, they were feeling dazed. What is dazed? They were unable to think clearly, because they were lying unconscious. So they couldn't think anything properly. They were unable to understand what had happened to them. But Yudhishthir knelt at his heavenly father's feet and his heart overflowed with gratitude. Yama blessed him and promised that he and his brothers would be protected by heaven in their hardships. So after he saw all his brothers, they were alive, what did he do? He knelt at his heavenly father's feet. Who is his heavenly father? It is Yama. With gratitude. What is gratitude? The quality of being thankful. He was very thankful to Yama for restoring back his brothers' lives. Yama blessed him and promised that he and his brothers would be protected by heaven in their hardships. No harm shall come to you, he said. Neither will you be discovered while you live in the hiding during the last and the 13th year of exile. So Yama is saying that, no harm shall come to you and you will not be discovered. Nobody will come to know who you all are. because the last year they were supposed to live in disguise. Okay, so he's saying that in the last year, when you are living in disguise, nobody will be able to identify who you all are. He advised Yudhishthir to go with his brothers and Draupadi to Matsya, where good King Virata ruled, and to live there in disguise. There they would be safe from their enemies while they awaited the end of their long period of exile. So Yama, he advised Yudhishthir, with the other 4 brothers and Draupadi, it's better you go and stay at the Matsya kingdom, and there you have to live in disguise, and there they would be safe from their enemies as well. What is disguise? You have a different appearance in order to conceal your identity. Okay. Then Yama left Yudhishthir, who returned to his forest dwelling with his brothers. So I hope, students, the lesson is clear to all of you. Quickly, we'll just see the value points. Let's come to reference to context. This enchanted pool belongs to me. No one may drink of its water until he has answered my questions. First question, who is the speaker of these lines? So who is the speaker? Yes, it is Yaksha who is the speaker of these lines. Who is being addressed here? Sahadev is being addressed here. What would be the consequence of drinking water without answering the questions? So the consequence of drinking water without answering questions would be getting unconscious. And who drank without answering the questions? That's question number 4. It is all 4 brothers, Nakul, Sahadev, Bhima and Arjun. Clear, students? Now let's come to the vocabulary part of this lesson, wherein we have idioms. So what are idioms? Idioms are words, phrases or expressions which are commonly used in everyday conversation. They are basically used to express something more vividly and more briefly. We use them when we speak informally. For example, I tell you, spill the beans. Now, what does this mean? Now, if you take the meaning of every single word, spill the beans, does it actually mean that we have to go and spill all the beans on the floor? No. Spill the beans means you give out a secret information. Okay. But what are these idioms? Basically, the actual words that we use, the meaning is different. But when you put them together as an idiom, it has a different meaning altogether. Now, spill the beans. Spill is, we say the water spills. He spilled water from his bottle. Okay. So here, spill the beans means you give away or you leak out something important. An important piece of information is leaked out. Clear? I'll give you a few more examples. All ears. Now what does this mean? Listening intently, sharply, with precision, or awaiting an explanation. I'll give you an example. I'm all ears. Tell us what they had to say. I'm all ears means I am listening to you. I am waiting for, to hear from you. Tell me what he had to say or what they had to say. So here the meaning of all ears is listening intently. You're paying attention to what the other person is saying. Okay. Or you are awaiting an explanation. Clear? Next. Bed of roses. What does it mean? An easy, comfortable situation or an easy life. This is what actually means. But if you see bed of roses, if you take every single word, bed, does it mean actually the bed where we sleep? No. So bed of roses, it means an easy life or a comfortable situation. Let me frame a sentence for you. Who said that life would be a bed of roses? Okay. Who said that life would be, it will be an easy life? Ups and downs are bound to happen. Clear? Next. Beat around the bush. Okay. If you see individual meaning, beat is when you hit something. So does it actually mean you go and hit the bush? No. So what does this idiom mean? Avoiding the main matter or an issue, not talking directly about the topic. Let me give you an example sentence. If you want to ask me, just ask. Don't beat around the bush. If there is something that you want to ask me directly. Don't talk on irrelevant topics. Come to the point. Okay, that is what it means. Cannot judge a book by its cover. You will not understand how a person is just by looking at his or her outer appearance. Okay, so you cannot judge something based on the looks or the appearance. That man may look small and insignificant, but don't judge a book by its cover. Maybe that man is a very powerful person. Okay, just by looking at him, you cannot decide how good or how bad or how powerful he is. Clear, students? Curiosity killed the cat. Being curious, when you keep on asking many questions, when you're very inquisitive, okay, that may lead you to some or the other problem. So, being curious or prying can lead to an unpleasant situation. Okay, moving on to the next one. Piece of cake. What does it mean? A job, task or other activity that is easily achieved. That interview will be a piece of cake for you, which means you'll be easily able to crack that interview. You'll be able to, give perfect answers. It's going to be an easy thing. You'll get the job easily. Clear, students? I hope these idioms are clear to all of you. Match these idioms in column A with their meanings in column B. Here we have the idioms and in column B we have its meaning. Turn a deaf ear. Turn a deaf ear means you refuse to listen. Go with the flow. Go with the flow means you take things as they come. Zip your lip. Very easy to stop talking. Once in a blue moon, which means very rarely. Miss the boat. Very easy. Miss the boat is miss the chance. Raining cats and dogs. When it's raining, do cats and dogs fall? No. When we use this idiom, it means it is raining very heavily. Clear, students? Here we have the answers. Do make a note of these answers, students. Please make a note, students. This is your textual exercise on page number 88. This one and the previous one both. Now, these we have. Here we have the idioms in column A. Out of these idioms, you have to fill in the blanks over here. Okay? So, we go to the mall dash. We like going to small shops instead. So, we go to the mall, but that's very rare. So, we go to the mall once in a blue moon. Clear? Next. They had to stop playing outside as it was. The weather was not good. It was raining cats and dogs. The teacher dashed to all our pleas to postpone the test. The teacher didn't listen to us. So, which means she turned a deaf ear to all our pleas to postpone the test. My sister delayed putting in her application for the contest and now she's missed the chance, which means she has missed the boat. We were making such a din that our teacher told us to. They were making a lot of noise. So the teacher asked them to zip their lip. Here in this context it will be, we were making such a din that our teacher told us to zip our lips. Clear? Since I can't change the situation, I have decided to. Now nothing can be done. I have to go with the flow. Okay? So I hope, students, this topic of idioms and phrases is clear to all of you. And this lesson, the Pandavas in exile, is also clear to all of you. We'll catch up very soon in our next class. Till then, you will take care of yourself. Sai Ram and bye-bye.